There you go.
Mi gente, you already know who it is. It's Danny Limelight. And I need all of you to subscribe to According to Woods podcast on Facebook, YouTube, and all other platforms.
What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and happy Turkey Day for those of you guys who subscribe to that. So happy Turkey Day for everyone. But somebody that isn't having turkey is somebody who's getting ready to step in to Backyard Brawl 2020. He's the one and only Rob Cornflakes Fuller. What's going on, Cornflakes?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
Good, man. Glad to have you. Obviously, you're, in the midst of training, getting ready for this, December card. Backyard Brawl. It's just almost like a tipping of the hat to how combat sports began. It was like guys in the backyard. Like in the 1900s, guys you would fight on their lunch breaks,
Yeah.
like that's it. So, you're going to be doing the thing. How excited are you for this event?
Oh, dude, I'm super pumped. I haven't fought in, I think it's been since January. So I'm super excited. So it's been, basically 10 months of, and I had like 2 fights scheduled that obviously with shit going on fell through. So yeah, man, I'm super excited. I got the fight on, I believe, about 7 days notice. So yeah, I found out about it roughly last Monday. So maybe even early. I don't know exactly the day, but they didn't even have to tell me an opponent, man. They don't have to tell me shit about that, bro. You know what I mean? It don't matter. At the end of the day, just send me the contract and location, bro. I'm super pumped. I don't really care. They told me 130 pounds, Pablo Caballero, he's getting knocked the fuck out probably in less than a minute. So it don't. At the end of the day, bro, he just signed his life away. I'm ready to go because I was already prepping for other fights and shit. So I'm ready to rock and roll. I'm super excited. I'm up here fucking getting my workout in right now. I ain't eating no turkey. I'm suffering right now. It is what it is, but it's all gonna be worth it in the long run.
It's crazy, right? Because most people, in terms of combat sports or martial arts, rather, people don't get the art form of it. They just see kind of like the spectacle or what have you, right? But like
Right.
it's like a starving artist, right? Like you suffer and starve for your craft, right? And your craft is like literally like carving your fist into people's faces, but still it's an art, whether it be Picasso, whether you do jujitsu, train boxing, what have you. It's one of those deals where it's a canvas all throughout, and you guys as athletes, we get to see you guys and gals basically carve and paint your masterpieces on the canvas.
Right, man. It's cutting weight and everything else. It's crazy to actually get to the point to actually be able to fight. People don't realize, what actually goes into it, beyond it. Stuff like that. The sacrifices you make in the gym, with your family, at home, on the food table. And it's crazy because a lot of my fights just happen to be around crazy like Christmas, Halloween, where all the good candy's out, or Thanksgiving where all the good food's out. So hey, man, it is what it is. At the end of the day, as long as you're with your family, you know what I mean? Shit, you can always eat afterwards. So hey, when I got the call and got the opportunity, the last thing on my mind was food. So hey, I'm ready to go.
I love it. It's almost theoretically speaking, your opponent's Christmas creature, right? Like that'll come and come bump in the night.
I'm ready to go, man. Yeah, it's one of those things where I was already prepping for a boxing fight. That kind of fell through, and so like I was already pretty close to fight weight. So once they offered me this, it was definitely going to be a task, but it wasn't nothing I couldn't overcome and have done before. So right now it's 5 miles a day, all the way up to the fight, and a really skim dinner every single night. So I'll be all right. I've done this shit before. I'm a professional. It's not my first rodeo. So I know exactly where I am and where I need to be.
I love it. I love it. There's there's a certain sense of like Bushido spirit, that warrior spirit that lives within you. So I want to take you back. Like, how did you get involved in combat sports?
Oh man, I've been a huge fan since, I mean, UFC one. I mean, when Hoist Gracie and these guys were, twice as, small as these other guys, taking them out with jujitsu and the stand up. That's what a lot of people don't realize in the UFC. It wasn't just jujitsu dominating back in the day, but I was a big fan back in the day and always growing up. And man, once I hit about my mid 30s, I moved to California, and obviously stuff out there is real big. And I told my wife, I said, man, I want to try this shit before it's over with. I want to try this. I tried it, man, and it's been nothing but an addiction ever since. I've been going at it now for about 5 years. I got into the sport with no combat experience, man. I literally took my first fight, no coach, never trained before, fought at my own weight. Needless to say, I got my ribs broken and my ass beat within about 3 minutes of the fight, and learned a big lesson. I mean, it humbled me. If you think you're going to get in there with these athletes and you have no experience and you think you're confident enough, good luck, buddy. That's all I got to say to you. After that fight, I knew what weight I needed to be at. I needed to start cutting weight. I needed to start training, shit like that, man. And to even have a chance at these guys that's been doing it all their life compared to a guy like me that just jumps into it with no combat experience. Now, I was an athlete in high school and college, so the natural progression from an athlete to a MMA or boxing and or it was pretty easy. But however, nothing's ever easy. So I've been at it for 5 years, just working my craft, man, and busting my tail to get better every single day. Hasn't been an easy road, but I wouldn't change it. I took a lot of fights I probably shouldn't have, but you know what? At the end of the day, man, you can look at my Tapology and my record and understand that most of the guys I fought are either undefeated, have a couple of them that's in the UFC. So my record isn't great, but I fought some of the best. You know what I mean? So that's kind of how my career's kind of went so far. So that's kind of where I am, dude. One of my inspirations is Uriah Faber. I've been watching him for a long, long time. He's just, man, I just love. I named my son after him. He's just one of my favorite guys. Good character, good guy. But yeah, man, I've been at this for a while. Never done bare knuckle, and I've lost a lot of my fights via submission, tap out, ground game. So I'm interested to see, without a referee to stop that and take any takedowns. I'm interested to see how somebody's going to do standing up with me the whole time with no takedowns available. So I'm excited, man.
That's I mean, again, somebody that tests themselves in terms of like their craft and the ability, to kind of take on new mountaintops, so to speak. I think it's absolutely awesome. Now, you talked about that first fight, right? You talked about the first fight and not really knowing what you didn't know, right? And then,
right.
What was the process after? Where you're like, let me go ahead and jump in a gym. Like, what was that process out? Because obviously, the camaraderie of a gym, as you know, is something crucial, absolutely crucial, to your development as a fighter, as well as the kind of dynamic of the gym, right?
Right.
One bad apple spoils a whole bunch. So, like, did you try out a couple different gyms, or did you have one in mind that you maybe drove by or heard about? Like, what was the deal?
Yeah, I started. I was in basically in Anaheim, and Tito Ortiz, his old gym was right. He used to train with Paulo Gazzi, which is my old jiu-jitsu coach. It's basically his gym at the Gazzi Academy. So I drive by there every once in a while, and I noticed it, and decided to start training there after I got my ass beat. So started training there. Found out what it was really like to actually be in a gym, cut weight, man, sparring, shit like that, it's crucial to you being the development of, it translating into the cage or anything like that. So a lot of things I was just, in awe about being able to spar and having the nuts to stay, you know what I mean? You're tested as a man when you don't, when you've never really had another sparring partner and shit like that before. So started training at Ghazi Academy, man. Took my second amateur fight. I took it against an undefeated fighter, and I went all the way into the second round. I got a TKO loss, but it was the progression of getting submitted in the first and somebody actually being my size, having a chance. Because if you're in MMA and you're not cutting weight and you're fighting against another guy that's a legitimate MMA fighter, you have no fucking chance, realistically. I mean, you're usually fighting a guy 15 to 20 pounds heavier than you on any given night. And if it goes to the ground, good luck. You know what I mean? So yeah, man, started training, moved back to Colorado after a while. So I've trained at a couple gyms out here. So I'm training at Nova Mixte Academy. I do that, do some jiu-jitsu there, do boxing. I do some A1. So I do some different gyms right now. So yeah, I mean, I got a couple guys that I bring in for sparring and shit. So I've definitely learned my lessons with, when I took those losses in the amateur rank. So I learned my lessons where you definitely want to learn them. However, in the pro career and your pro circuit, the way I feel, man, you take what fights are available. You know what I mean? You don't be picky and choosy. If you want to have a padded record in this business, then, maybe that shit's for you. But that's not for me, man. I'll fight any motherfucker anytime. Like, literally, I'll fight a dude on the streets right now for free. So if you're offering me $800, $1,000, $1,500 to hop in there with another dude to fight, hey, man, let's go.
Let's fucking go, as the saying goes, right? Now,
you already know.
And I mean, that's the cool thing, right? Like, you had that, like, formative, like, oh, I know where I fucked up. I didn't have a corner. I didn't have a trainer. I just went in, like, again, like, I'm a warrior, which John Parker says, much respect, Rob is a true warrior. So shout out to John Parker, who's a mixed martial artist and pro wrestler himself. So shout out to you, good sir. But the thing about it is, like, you kind of, I mean, you've competed in jiu-jitsu, right? You've done things, right? So was there, like, something that you might have fell in love with? Because most people, when they jump into the gym, right, they get bit by a bug, and usually it's like, one or the other, whether it be striking, whether it be jiu-jitsu, or maybe it be the culmination of the two. But, like, what was it that you kind of fell in love with and were like, hey, I fighting or no fighting, like, I need this in my life?
I've always loved the stand-up aspect, but starting in the journey in jiu-jitsu, not really understanding it in the beginning, just thinking a bunch of guys are fucking around on the ground, not really, until you actually get in the gym and understand that there's technique involved. There's a lot of shit going on that you just didn't understand, you know what I mean, as a spectator on the outside looking in. I would always tell my wife way back in the day, like, tell this guy to get the fuck up. What's he doing? You know what I mean? And I realized that later on when my ass is on my back and I can't fucking get up because I got a brown belt on top of me and shit like that. So jiu-jitsu humbled me, and it made me interested enough to want to learn it. So, I mean, 5 years ago, man, I couldn't even battle. You know what I mean? I didn't even know what guard was. And today, being somewhat of a blue belt, I'm getting there. You know what I mean? I've put in my time at it, and still not a perfectionist. Like I said, there's guys at this age where, there's so many opportunities that there weren't back in the day. I'm an older fighter. So, guys are starting out this journey at teenage years to where they're 19, 20 years old and already a brown belt. You know what I mean? So the sport as a landscape has progressed so much to where, you know what I mean? You're not, those young guys are dangerous these days. You know what I mean? So, man, there's no easy fight in the game, but jiu-jitsu is definitely an intriguing thing to me because I was always naturally pretty good at everything else, and I've had to work at jiu-jitsu, man. I've had to really work at it. Everything from just getting your breathing techniques down to staying calm and shit like that, man, which is hard to do when you got a gorilla on your back. So yeah, man, it's just an everyday battle. Still I'm getting better every single day, 1%. But that's kind of the thing I fell in love with. Striking was always my love, but when I found jiu-jitsu, I was like, this is cool as shit. You know what I mean? And now both of my kids train. They're gray belts, so they compete too. So yeah, man, it's a family thing.
That's amazing, though. Now, I mean, going into the second fight, right? I mean, what was the biggest thing that you felt empowered by, right? Versus, having a gym, having a trainer, having a regimen, right? Because again, as a, kind of a born fighter, born athlete, you kind of want to go like, oh, I'm just gonna go in there and just I'm gonna
Right,
go for the fucking headshot and knock him out, right? Um,
right.
so, what do you think that you knew the second time around that you felt like you didn't have the first time?
Well, the coaching, my coach was with me for sure. So, it made me more at ease knowing the process and somebody there that had been through the process before. I wasn't alone. The very first one I had to get like a random guy to corner me. The promoter got a random dude out of the that was cornering other people to help me out and stuff like that. So, going through that whole process, and being able to have a coach that knew how to cut the weight properly, knew how to wrap my hands. Shit, like the small things you don't worry about, and then you're like, oh shit, I don't got anybody to wrap my hands. You know what I mean? I don't have anybody to warm me up. And then you start realizing how important a corner and a coach is, not just into the in ring ability from him, and that's one of the things I had to start listening to the coach. I was always just on instinct of, just on a fighter's instinct. And now a guy's telling me what to do because he's seeing something I don't see, in the ring or in the cage. So, being able to listen is a big thing, man. Being able to just hear your coach and hear your voice. So just having the coach as an overall experience, being able to just the whole lead up, and then to actually have to, being able to listen to somebody and translate what they're saying into, and what you need to do. So it was definitely a change, man. And having to get, and just the whole overall preparation, just a real training camp as opposed to not knowing what the fuck I'm doing and, wishing and hoping for the best. So, man, that was 5 years ago. I was an amateur. I've learned a hell of a lot since then. My very first fight is at 155. I fought as low as 125 now. And this next fight is at 130. So that should tell you right there, you know what I mean? I had no business at 155 pounds. The guy I fought was like a wrestler, probably walking around at 170, 180, like not what you need to be fighting.
Yeah, I mean, but again, that's the willingness to show up and fight, which
Yeah,
like, there's a kind of an ethos, right? A mindset of like doing it for the gram. That doesn't just exist in ass selfie Instagram models, and if that's what you do, whatever. But like the equivalent of like the ass selfie Instagram fighter, like they'll do cool combos and flippy shit and everything like that, and then get into a fight, and it's just like fucking A, right? So,
right.
you know, so I mean, but it shows your willingness to get in there. Now, in terms of your coaching, right? What could you say was the biggest thing that you kind of took away from like having a coach, versus that first one?
I guess the biggest thing was having that confidence. You know what I mean? When you're all alone and you're kind of looking around with everybody else having coaches, you're like, hold on, this is not right. You know what I mean? Just having the knowledge, and now that I kind of seen how the first one went, kind of looking around with guys having pads and warming up, and I'm kind of looking around like, this is what I should have. It seems like, you know what I mean? As opposed to the second fight when I had that, and was able to have total confidence in my coach, him being able to warm me up, everything up to the fight, helping me put the weight back on, the right way, cut it the right way. All that goes into the fight. So if you're confident in all that, then you're good to go. If you're not and you don't know what the hell you're doing and you're just kind of whimming it and shit like I did on the first fight, I mean, proof is in the pudding. The result is in the pudding. So I progressed a little bit. Again, I lost the fight. I fought an undefeated fighter. But again, these guys have been doing it for so long, and I ain't got no excuses, man. I'm just a fucking old cat trying to get in there and bang, man. And I'm trying to find my niche. I feel like bare knuckle is going to be good for me. Um, yeah, man, I knocked the dude out in November of last year, my 2 fights ago, and I mean he was on the canvas for 5 minutes flat, bro. Like, you know what I mean, and like straight. I mean, one punch knockout. Like, so that was with 4 ounce gloves. So if I catch, I mean, this guy gets caught, he's gonna be in a world of hurt, bro. Like, and there's no way you can stop me because like you can't take me down now. Like, there's no referee that's gonna let you take me down. So your ass is mine. Literally, you're in some serious shit.
Fuck, man. That's which I have to ask, right? Because obviously fighting has become a big part of your life over the last, half a decade, pretty much, right?
Yeah,
So, and especially something that I mean, most of your fights have taken place during the holidays, right? So, you
yeah,
know, could do you imagine what your life would be like if you didn't have combat sports?
man. I that'd be tough. Um, it's such a big part of my life as far as just everything because it gives me a purpose. In the kitchen, I mean, it gives me a purpose to serve the right food to my family, not just a bunch of bullshit. I know I have to stay disciplined with my diet. So, like, whatever I make, they eat. So, it's almost a family thing because my kids train. My kids compete as well in Naga and jujitsu and stuff. So, um, man, if I didn't, I mean, my kids have been to every one of my fights, like front row. Like it's nothing to see them. They've seen me get submitted. They've seen me knock a dude out. They've seen me get knocked out. It's nothing to them. This is no surprise or anything weird. But yeah, man, if I didn't have that, it would be rough. It would probably change the whole aspect of my family. Just again, it's such a big part of my life with everything. With my diet, with my
Hey guys, this is Cord in the Woods, and happy Turkey Day to you all. We're going to be momentarily. It seems like something might have happened to Rob's camera, and so we're going to get back to Rob in just a moment. But happy Thanksgiving and Turkey Day to all of you out there. Thank you for joining us and carving out not just the turkey, but a bit of time to go ahead and listen to this very podcast and watch this very podcast. I can't thank you enough for considering this is a day of thanks. But if you haven't already done so, I warmly encourage you to go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to According to Woods on both Facebook and YouTube. You're going to get awesome interviews, much like the one right here with Rob. And a lot of other things you might see. I mean, one of your friends, one of your family, So, yeah, so go ahead and like, share, and subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Now we're back with Rob. Yeah,
sorry, man, you
so
lost
you
me
were
there for a
telling
second,
us.
brother. Sorry about that.
No worries, no worries. So you were telling us about how your family trains as well. Which I think is amazing, right? And especially the fact that I mean, fighting is in your blood, right? Literally and figuratively. I mean, you are of native descent, right? And you are a
Yes.
tribe leader, which is absolutely tremendous, and especially on a day like this where I think a lot of the native of this very land get 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 kind of looked over, right? I think it's pretty
Yeah.
special and apropos that we're doing this here because again, fighting is in your blood, and not only does it kind of flow out of you, but it also prevails into your children, which is amazing. So how's it like, having them there? That has to be like a boost of rocket fucking fuel, lit under your butt because like not only are your family, I mean, not just your coaches and everything holding you accountable on what you can and can't do, but also it's your kids. You're looking at yourself in the mirror, literally and figuratively. So like what's that like? And especially as you support your native origins.
Well, big shout out to Alabama Coushatta tribe, Southeast Texas. First and foremost. Other than that, man, yeah, being able to face them is a big thing for me. You know, basically at the end of the day, you fight to fight, and win or lose, you get in there. I've experienced more losses than I ever will wins. Um, Not because I don't have talent. It's because I take hard ass fights, and people know that I don't take easy fights. You can look at my tapology again. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things. However, you know, um, it sucks to have to look them in the face when you lose at the end of the day. Um, so yeah, it's kind of one of those things that you kind of pull strings with at the end of the day. But you know, they know by example that when I get in there, I'm in there to prove something to myself, to them, and to God. That I'm a warrior no matter win or lose. However, our expectation is to win. We don't go in there thinking we're going to lose by any means, no matter what the records are or who we're facing. But the bottom line is I fought a lot of dudes that are really, really tough. Fought a couple guys out of my weight class, and it's time to stop all that shit. I've learned my lesson through a lot of that stuff, and if it's one lesson I'll teach my kids, it's if you ever get into the sport, you know, fight at your right weight. That's the way you're gonna be. Don't take stupid, silly fights. I've taken fights on 24-hour notice, taken fights on a week notice, 7 days notice. Yeah, man. So yeah, got to take those smart fights. However, again, Woods, it's like this. You get an opportunity, you take that fucking opportunity. You know what I mean? Uh, Promoters, matchmakers, things like that. Remember guys like me, that'll fly the fuck out on 24-hour notice and fly and go fight somebody that's 10 pounds up on weight in their own backyard and shit like that. I've done shit like that. So, what goes around comes around. That's the way I look at it. So, I'd rather have a career that I knew that I could stand by, 100% than some padded ass record, taking a bunch of fights with the guys that I know I can beat. You know what I mean? Like a lot of these guys do. I'm not about that shit, man. It's like, I'm about fighting the best. So yeah, that's where I am with it.
I absolutely love it, man. But your kind of new set of eyes, right? Looking at a perspective differently. Also, isn't just the guidance of your coaches, but you've also enlisted a management team.
Yeah.
CNC management, right? Which thankfully to Gary and Carlos Leon, that this very podcast episode is happening. So shout out to them. And I mean,
CNC, baby, CNC management.
absolutely, and all the best healing vibes to Carlos, who's in the hospital, dealing with some stuff. So again, all positivity to you, my man. So I mean, how good is that to kind of be repped with, literally an organization that regardless of what happens, their mantra, their motto is head up, eyes forward. This
Yeah.
like whatever you do, regardless of how yesterday was, whether it be good or bad or whatever, it's just like, again, keep your head up, champ, and
Yep.
just eyes on the prize, eyes forward.
They were one of the management teams that wanted me. You know what I mean? With my records, some guys shy away. They want to look good, having the undefeated guy or the guy that's going to the UFC. But Carlos and those guys knows what the fuck is up, and knowing they got a true warrior on their hands. And shout out to Carlos. Hey, if you want a good, solid management team, you want fights, CNC management is definitely the catch for you. They got me this fight, bro. They'll take care of you. He's an honest dude. Shout out to Carlos. Get well soon. I'll also see you soon. But yeah, man, hiring a management team has been pretty good for me. It's something I'm not used to dealing with. I'm always used to getting my own shit. So it's been a weird for me to step back and not get my own fights and take care of my own purse. Shit I've always done. But I learned a long time ago in business, and you can't do every fucking thing yourself. So sometimes, you got to delegate. You got to pay for business. You got to pay for shit. That's just the bottom line. And ain't nothing in life for free. And then there's a lot of dudes that are sitting on the fucking sidelines right now wishing that they were getting a fight. And guess what? I'm one of those motherfuckers that's fighting. So I'm blessed, man. Again, CNC management has been great for me. And they got a lot of top-notch dudes on their squad. So, again, if anybody's out there looking for a management team, looking for fights, hit up Carlos Leon. He's the man.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. Now, obviously, you talked about, you were supposed to have, two fights this year, right? And it ended
Right,
up just being one, and one that you didn't even anticipate or plan for, right?
right.
So, what has this like year been for you? Because obviously, people are on all sides of the spectrum, whether it be health wise. I mean, my wife unfortunately got COVID. So we're spending, even though we're in the same house, we're spending Thanksgiving apart, so it's kind of
Wow.
weird. But obviously it's hit everybody a little bit different, right? So I mean, what has the scene of cornflakes look like, right? In terms of, have you been able to get in training camps and training, or I mean, what does the fight scene looking like?
Yeah. Man, I've just been with COVID. It's been, there's only so much you can do. So thankfully, I run a moving company, and I get to stay in shape and make money at the same time. And I've been hella extremely busy. Since COVID began, I literally just got back from LA 2 days ago. I did a move out there for a customer. Shouldn't have stopped in Vegas. Damn. But yeah, man, it's been pretty solid for me. I mean, I haven't been able to get what we've gotten pre-COVID in, um, just because the gyms and shit are at capacity. Depending on where you're at and what state you live in, is depends on how much you're going to get in. And our governor has shut pretty much everything down to 10% capacity. However, I got a gym in my garage that I'm able to stay in shape with. I got heavy bags, speed bags. It's not idealistic, but all I got to do is bring guys in, which I've been doing to get sparring in. So you got to improvise because there's just nothing going on. The only thing that's available right now is like the actual gyms, and they're down 10% as I'm sitting here in the parking lot waiting an hour to go back and get another workout in. So it's all by appointment. Um, However, again, my life has blessed me with running a moving company, and bro, I've been getting it in. I move furniture about every day. So, being able to stay in shape. I knew that if an opportunity did pop up, I needed to be in shape. So between working out every day, my moving business, I've been able to, keep everything locked down and pretty tight, to be able to, accept a fight when it showed up.
I love it. I absolutely love it, and that's one thing that I encourage everybody, that competes in in the sport, whether it be MMA, pro wrestling, jiu-jitsu, or what have you. You are the CEO of your own brand, your own company, right? And
Right,
you are the ultimate determination whether that brand is worth like absolutely nothing, or multi-million dollars, as we've seen in the instance of Conor McGregor, right? But one of the
right,
things that I love, right, is people who can essentially figure it out outside, use what they learned in their battles, in the cage, in the ring, and essentially, do for themselves and not have to work in the conventional sense, become entrepreneurs and everything. I mean, we're kind of 2 years removed from you know, the much maligned Tito Ortiz, Chuck Liddell 3, right? I was there at the weigh-ins, and Chuck didn't look great, and he was one of my heroes, as was Tito, right? And it was just like to see those guys, right, who were, I mean, for a large part, UFC wouldn't be where it was if not for them in the early days, right? They were like
right.
the first, a couple of the first, headliners, and
Yeah,
definitely the first real feud, right? But if those guys couldn't make it in their, 40s, one in the early 40s in Tito Ortiz, and one in their late 40s in Chuck Liddell, if they couldn't build a brand in their name, right, after the fight, game had passed them by, then what
right,
the hell are we all doing, right? And that's one of the
right.
things. It's just like, and that's one of the reasons why this podcast exists. It's like, I want you to plug everything that you got. I want, because again, there's going to come a day where this might not be an option anymore, right?
Yep,
The aches and pains are a little bit too much to kind of like justify, flying out, on 24 hours notice, or
yep.
even a 6 week fight camp, right? So I
That's when
love
you
that
hire.
you have your.
That's when you hire 24-hour movers.
There you go. Exactly. Right. And that's the thing. It's like you have your own company that not only allows you to provide for your family and not just fight for the paycheck because that has happened, but also it gives you, the open-ended deal to train when you want, and then also again, talking about taking things from fighting in your everyday life. Well, guess what? In your job, in your own company, again, you get a workout and you're getting paid. And I think it's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, man. I've been doing my moving shit for about a decade now. So I mean, sometimes I'll do 2 or 3 of these a day, third floor to third floor, carrying couches, heavy ass boxes, you know, cardio, and then I'm getting my money at the end. So it's almost like a paid training camp. It gives me grip strength, a lot of things that fighters don't take into consideration that you can get good training in other places than a gym, because right now you have to improvise. And it's funny because a lot of fighters back in the day would like clown me and shit because I had a gym in my garage, and stuff like that. Always just another place to train. And back in the day, it was my only place to train because I didn't have a gym yet. And now, swing full forward now, and now people are calling me to train over in my gym all of a sudden. So, it's one of those things where, dude, I'm just super blessed to do this. And my moving business is my bread and butter. So it enables me to be able to do shit that I never thought. I mean, I can leave for 4 or 5 days like I'm going to, and I don't have to, I can just leave. I don't have to report to nobody or anything like that. Basically, I can just take a couple days vacation. And again, it helps me out with my cardio, with my bills, everything, man. So it's a blessing in disguise. A lot of guys, I don't know what they do. And I know a lot of them that are pro athletes and shit, like have, they'll be the trainer and shit at their gym, the Muay Thai coach and stuff like that. But if you're not doing that and you're not moving furniture, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. Because Pizza Hut and 7-Eleven are not going to work and not going to cut it if you're a professional athlete. And I'm not dogging those places. I'm just saying you gotta find something that's better for you, that's going to work better for you than some shit like that.
I absolutely love it. Now, one of the things that I mean, obviously, anybody that follows you or knows about you, you are quite the colorful performer, right? You are,
Oh,
and I mean, damn that damn satin jacket. Oh man, I want one of those in my closet. Damn. But where does that come from? Like, I mean, there's a strength, right? Where again, there's the outliers, right? Because again, where people would have made fun of you, when you first started of having a home gym, and I had similar experiences where like I would do stuff on my phone. I couldn't, for 4 years didn't have like the wherewithal to go ahead and get like equipment or the tact to do it, right? And now everybody, from like the big major networks and everything, and even this, right? You turn on NBC, you turn on Fox News or whatever, they're not doing anything different than what we're doing now, right? So, I mean,
right.
that's a cool thing. But I mean, that there's a confidence that comes with all of that, and then also there's a confidence in again the way that you carry yourself, the way that you dress, and everything. So, especially 2020 has made people a lot more not confident, less confident about their finances, less confident about their health, and what have you. Where does this confidence come from?
Man, I don't know what everybody else is on. I mean, I'm just like, I'm not going to let the government and all this bullshit going on around us have anything to do with setting me back in life, because at the end of the day, anything can happen at any time to anybody. So you might as well live your life, bro. I mean, at the end of the day, I got confidence through the roof no matter what. I don't care. I know the guys I've fought. I know where I am today. God's always looking out for me and my family. He knows I do good. I mean, I do so much good, man, that I don't even worry about that shit. I mean, I donate so much money to certain causes with St. Jude, hospital, the kids that have cancer and stuff like that, man. When you do good in life, the shit's a full swing and it's a full circle. God takes care of you. So I don't really worry about anything, man. He just brings blessings to me, and takes care of me. As far as confidence, man, I'm a showman. At the end of the day, one thing I learned a long time ago is if you got to know how to sell a fight and sell yourself. If you're gonna do this, market yourself. Know what the fuck you're doing. Love it. Act like you want to be there. And I fucking want to be here. So yeah, man. Everything from my Kimbo Slice grill, everything from my satin shit that I wear to my walkout clothes to my fight shorts, man. To my walkout song. I'm lit. I want everybody to want to see me no matter what the record. They're gonna be like, hey, at least that motherfucker fights. At least he brings it.
That's brilliant. And again, anybody that gets it twisted, I mean, it is entertainment. It could be fight, everything like that, but the goal is to put an ass in every 18 inches, whether that be there at the fights itself, watching a stream of some sort, going to the bar and watching the fights. It's an ass in every 18 inches. And especially now where there's so many entertainment options, whether it be Hulu, Netflix, and everything, and then just even like
Yeah.
if you're on Fight TV, there's like literally thousands, if not a million fights that you can just watch on that service alone, right?
Yep.
So again, you want somebody that might be flipping the channel and we're like, whoa, what the fuck
Who's
is
that guy?
Who's that guy? Right? And that's it, So anybody that was like, oh, I'm just a martial artist and everything, that's all great, right? But when Dana White himself, right, the major domo of the UFC tells Curtis Blades, right, when Curtis Blades was getting all like huffy about why Brock Lesnar.
He's boring.
Yeah, exactly. Why Brock Lesnar pushed DC and whatever, right? And he was like, "Well, I'm supposed to get my title shot and whatever and all that." And he's fighting this weekend, but it's not a title fight because Dana White said, "Okay, go be an awesome mixed martial artist. You go ahead and be a martial artist, right? But my deal is a promoter, right? I have to sell deal. So being a martial artist might just get you a job running your own gym at a strip mall, a judo school, or whatever. But that's not what I necessarily want as my champion."
Right. Exactly. Yep. And Curtis is a good friend of mine too. Like he lives here in Denver, fights on Elevation Fight Team, so I know him very well. And it's Dana's right. You got to be entertaining. People don't want to see you come in for 3 to 5 rounds and lay on somebody. I mean, and then you talk a bunch of shit before the fight as if you're going to knock somebody out, and then you go in there and do that. I mean, I think that's what you're talking about, or at least, one of the conversations they've had. So, yeah, you want to come in there, you want to make a mark, and you want to be a showman. And that's why I think a lot of people were mad at Conor when he came in and kind of took everybody's flights. I mean, he was not only knocking motherfuckers out, he was selling the show. And so if anybody would have realized what was going on, they would have fell in line. The only one that I've seen that actually fell in line was Kobe. Kobe Covington is trying his best, and people can say what the fuck they want about him, and he's this and he's that, but shit, he can fight, bro, and he can talk some shit. So, I mean, I like to see him. It's entertaining as fuck when him and Usman had their shit back and forth. I would have probably never watched that fight with any back and forth. You know what I mean? So they sold that for me. So yeah, man, you gotta come out and sell the fuck. You gotta sell yourself. Whether it be in something like this, a platform like this, the weigh-ins, your walkout, or by you fighting or all of them combined. But if you think you're just gonna listen to some music, come out, have no emotion, get in there and just win a couple fights and think you're gonna be successful, man, you got another thing coming, because this business is more than just fighting. You got to be a showman. It's all about money, ratings, shit like that. So, I mean, you got to know where you're at.
Yeah, I think the euphemism is the collecting necks and cashing checks.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, man. It's more than that. You got to look the part. You got to play the part. Jorge Masvidal is one of the main guys right now. You can see his outfit's a little bit different. His attitude's a little bit different. He's realizing where the motherfucking money is now, after years of being just a martial artist, if you feel what I'm saying. So yeah, he's starting to make some serious fucking money now. by not, talking shit, by knocking Ben Askren out in 5 seconds. A nice little wardrobe change, a nice little attitude, and now all of a sudden, your purse is looking right. So, I mean, again, you got to sell yourself, and he's doing that. So that's a prime example. So everybody out there that, is looking how to make money, there you go.
Yes, and especially right now, right? There has never, and I tell everybody this, like that competes in any type of combat sports. There's more money in combat sports than there ever has been before. You've got UFC, you've got Bellator, you've got ONE FC, you've got a what is it? Professional Fighters League. You've got bare knuckle, toe the line, what have you. You've got WWE, you got AEW, whatever. So you mean to tell me you can't make a living for your family doing this? And again, you're already putting in the work, right? What's
Right.
one more thing about setting up your camera on your phone, right? And essentially just filming what the fuck you're doing, right? And you just know who watches. You might get one more follower, right? But you do that every day, right? If you do that one time per day, that's 365 more followers than you had at the beginning of the year when you first started. And here's the thing, right? Those 365 could be converted into, hey, I need to buy, fight tickets, right? There you go, right? Fight shirts, there you go, right? That's, 365, right? Times, like, you sell a fight shirt for $25, right?
Yep.
And if every one of those buys one, that's a nice chunk of change. It might even rival or be more than the money that you made for the fight. So I'm just saying, right? Like,
and promotions and promotions, promoters, matchmakers, shit like that. They look at shit like that. I mean, if you think you're going to be on Facebook and Instagram and social media and have 200 followers and think you're going to get a bunch of fights, then good luck, man. You have to sell yourself, not only through, yourself, your fighting, your martial arts, your platforms. You have to sell yourself, as a person. So like, you got to get it. You got to really want this shit, because there's a lot that goes into it. Again, as a martial artist, you have to be you have to be a chef. You have to be a salesman. You have to be an athlete. There's like 10 things you have to be as a martial artist. You got to be a calm motherfucker, which is real hard to do. You know what I mean? There's just a lot of things that go into it, but I'd rather be nothing else. I'll tell you that, because I'm a salesman, and like you said, when you can get followers and shit like that, people, promoters, matchmakers want guys with thousands of followers. They want new fans. They want, you know what I mean? If they can get 20 of your 3,000 followers, or 6,000 followers, then done deal. You know what I mean? So you got to think of it from a business perspective, not just from a martial artist perspective.
Exactly. I mean, the moves that you're making, your coach might not be the one that are going to be like, oh, that's a great idea, whatever. But the coaches, their business is to kind of keep you there as a fighter, right? But once the fighting goes, so does the coach, right? So
like, it's not like he's going to be there making sure your bills are paid or what have you. So you got to look at it long road. Hey, maybe you can be selling your brand 15 years, just like Metal Militia and Nick Diaz and those guys when they were selling. And those guys were selling shit in the parking lot as far as tap out. Mask and those guys, Charles Mask, and sitting on their bumpers, basically tailgating like people do at football games, but they were like in the UFC parking lot. People don't know where that shit originated from. They were literally doing it door to door, if there even was a fucking thing back in the day. So, and we got these platforms. They got social media that you just got to take a picture of your shirt or wear your shirt. And, if these guys can make it straight out the back of the fucking trucks, then it should be pretty easy for the common guy that's got the internet.
I know, 100%. And Everett Richard Osmer says, much respect to you, Rob. You are a true warrior of MMA. Shout out to Richard. Everett. And I'll be back, Woods. Happy holidays, Holmes. Happy holidays to you, good sir. I appreciate you guys. Now, I mean, obviously, there have been a lot of people that have helped you along the way in your journey, right? So, Rob, I want you to get some shout outs and acknowledgments as you head into Backyard Brawl of people that have helped you along the way. Could be family, could be sponsors, whoever you want to do. This is your time, my man.
First and foremost, my wife. It's crazy because before I ever had a corner, she was my corner. Um, and we've been through this journey together. She'll be flying out with me to this fight as well. She's always my backbone, always taking care of me, making sure my weight's on point, making sure I do all the right things and the little things. So she's definitely a major part of any of this. Um, my old coach, Jerry Ocampo, big shout out to Gazzi Academy. I think he might be at UFC Gym now, but he's a hell of a Muay Thai coach. Big shout out to him. He was my first coach. Um, big shout out to David Garcia, helping me out, getting me ready, keeping me with rounds. I know stuff's not going your way right now, but you'll get back. Um, yeah, man. And my kids always keep me 100% grounded. Big shout out to all of them. Big shout out to my sponsor, Contenders, AIPM Clothing. Those are two big sponsors that's been with me since I've been an amateur. Big shout out to Denver, Colorado, my home, my state. This is where I'm from. This is where I love to be. I'm at elevation 5280. Yeah, man, and big shout out to Woods for having me on, man, giving me this platform. You know, this is awesome, bro. I mean, podcasts are cool as fuck. You can do a lot with them. It's a good opportunity. I never knew, who you were, so it's been a great opportunity for me to meet you and, know a little bit about you as well. So, man, this has been cool as shit. So yeah, man, that's really all I got.
I appreciate the hell out of you, my brother. But I mean, you're a businessman, you're a salesperson. So again, for those who might be either attending, if it's safe to do so, Backyard Brawl, or buying the stream, what's one last sell from Rob Cornflakes Fuller on what they're going to see at Backyard Brawl 2020?
Backyard Brawl, you go ahead and tune in. It's probably going to be some knockouts really early. I can guarantee you my knockout will last probably about a minute or less. Somebody's going to sleep, and I'm pretty sure it's him. It could be me. You never know. I mean, it's a fight. But I would bank on me. Knockouts, blood. It's going to be a nasty event. Tune in. You'll see why.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely going to be tuning in as well. You guys should too. Now, for those who want information on not just Backyard Brawl, but with what you are doing, good sir, where can they find you on social media?
They can find me at Cherokee Outlaw 832. That would be Instagram. Cornflakes Rob Fuller. You can hit me up on Facebook. Those are the two social media things I got going on. So yeah, hit me up on either one of those. Follow me. Add me as a friend. Do whatever you want to do. Let's link up. Let's holler. I'm not just a fighter. I'm a friend. I don't like to be acquaintances, man. So I want people hitting me up that are actually involved in my life. I want to be vice versa with you. I don't want to be an acquaintance. So if that's what you are, save that for somebody else. But hit me up if you want a real friend, a real fighter. That's your boy.
Damn right. I followed him as well as you should too. And if you guys are in the mood for following, go ahead and like, share, and subscribe to According to Woods podcast, right? And I mean, Rob subscribed, right?
Oh, yeah, baby. Already subscribed. Cornflakes, According to Woods. It's all day, baby.
That's what we do. But don't just take our word for it. Here's pro wrestler Zeta Zhang.
Hey, this is Zeta Zhang. Make sure you subscribe to According to Woods